The JetKVM is a sleek little device that promises to let you remote control any computer from anywhere in the world. When it launched on Kickstarter, it made some pretty big promises. That it would actually deliver the hardware, that it would provide remote access from anywhere, and that all of the software would be open source. Now that I've received my backer, JetKVM, I can finally put those promises to the test. Today we're going to see what actually shipped, whether the remote control features really work, and if they followed through on making it open source, where that stands, and whether part of the cloud can be self-hosted. I'll also push the limits of this device to see if it can control multiple computers and if I can use it as a local KVM. And of course, I'll share how I plan to use these in my home lab. This is the JetKVM that I backed on Kickstarter. Later in this video, I'll show you some additional units that JetKVM sent me, but I want to be clear, I was already a backer long before they sent me those devices, and they have no input into this video. So what exactly is this thing? It's an IP KVM, which means it's a keyboard, video, and mouse device that works over the network. Now, traditional KVMs let you switch between multiple computers, but this one is designed for a single machine, allowing you to control it remotely through a web browser. The biggest advantage that an IP KVM has over traditional remote control software is that you can access your machine before it boots up. This means you can get into the BIOS, reinstall an operating system, or troubleshoot issues without physically being there. Now, that's a big deal for anyone managing remote servers or workstations. The JetKVM comes in a nicely packaged box, and right away, this is one of the most unique looking KVMs I've ever seen. It's all metal, surprisingly heavy, and has a slanted watch-like glass display that gives it a modern, high-end feel. On the sides, there are these small vent holes, which I think adds a nice visual touch. On the back of the device, you'll find a 100 megabit Ethernet port for network access, an RJ11 extension port for add-ons, a USB-C port that sends keyboard and mouse commands, and a mini HDMI input that captures video from the machine you're controlling. In the box, you get all of the necessary cables: a mini HDMI to HDMI cable, a USB-C splitter that delivers power while also allowing you to connect a keyboard and mouse, a USB-A to USB-C cable for connecting the KVM to your machine, so really, everything you need to get started. The JetKVM is pretty much plug and play. Again, if we look, we have an IP address now, and it says USB disconnected and HDMI disconnected. That's because we haven't powered on this PC. And shortly after it initializes, we should see, there we go. So USB is now connected and HDMI is now connected. Once everything is connected, you just go to the IP address displayed on the device, and that takes you to the welcome page. The first thing you'll want to do is set up a password, and yes, you should probably do this, and then you're in. From here, you can fully remote control the connected machine. Now, right away, I was impressed with the responsiveness. Input latency is super low, making it great for remote administration. Now, you're not going to be watching videos or gaming on this. That's not really what it's designed for. But for managing servers and troubleshooting remotely, it works really well. One of the first things I did was go into the settings and enable dark mode because, of course, there are also options to adjust brightness, dimming, and display timeout settings. Now, you can wake the display with a touch, but I noticed that the touch response wasn't as smooth as I expected. It's not a deal breaker though, since once you have it set up initially, you probably won't be using the display much at all. Hopefully, this is improved with software updates. One of the features you might have noticed is that you can adopt it to their cloud service, which lets you access your KVM from anywhere, even if it's behind a firewall. To set this up, you just authorize the device with your Google account, and then you can log in at app.jetkvm.com to control it remotely. They only support Google OIDC currently, but I hope there's more providers soon. But let me be clear, you don't have to use the cloud service at all. You can use this device 100% local without the need for the cloud, and it doesn't add any additional features beyond remote access through their web app. If you prefer, you can connect using VPN or something like Tailscale, which might get official support soon. One thing I wish they included was SSL or TLS encryption by default, since local logins currently send the password in plain text. The good news is that there's already a pull request open to fix this, so it should be coming soon. The JetKVM team promised to make all of the software open source, and well, it mostly is, but we'll talk about that later. The team believes that keeping the code open source is essential for the community that's not just using the products, but actually helping to build them. And yes, I mean build, since the code is on GitHub, anyone can contribute. Now, I've already submitted a few PRs and some of them have been merged, so if something starts acting funny on your device, it might be my fault. Kidding, maybe. There are a bunch of different pieces that make up the software side of JetKVM. First, there's the Linux system image that runs on the device. Then there's the KVM runtime that's written in Go, which acts as the controller for the Linux image. And on top of that, there's the UI running on the device, the one you see when you visit its IP address. Then there's the cloud UI at app.jetkvm.com. And finally, there's the cloud API, which your device only talks to if you connect it to their cloud. All of these have been open sourced, except for one, the Linux system image. I was told that it will be open source soon, so maybe by the time this video goes live, it'll already be available. Since I know the cloud feature will turn off most people, I wanted to see if I could self-host it. That meant running both the cloud UI and the cloud API in my own environment. With the help from the awesome folks in the JetKVM Discord community, a few long days and nights, I built a CI pipeline for 2 of the repositories and created a Docker image hosted in GitHub. This let me deploy everything to my own Kubernetes cluster, and now I'm fully self-hosting the JetKVM cloud. It's pretty incredible. To move faster, I forked the repo, but I've been contributing back changes as PRs. I'm still using some cloud services like Google and Cloudflare's Turn and Stun servers, but even those might be self-hostable. If you're interested, I might have a video on my other channel where I walk through the entire process and review some of my own code. After getting the cloud piece self-hosted, I turned back to hardware to see how far I could push the JetKVM. With the Pi KVM, I was able to connect it to a KVM switch, like the EasyQ switch, to control multiple machines from a single IP KVM. Naturally, I wanted to see if I could do the same with the JetKVM. First, I connected the JetKVM to the power and network as usual. Then I connected the USB-C to USB-A cable and connected it to the keyboard input on the EasyQ switch, and ran an HDMI cable from the JetKVM's output to the EasyQ's input switch. You got that? For each PC, I connected a USB-A to USB-A cable from the EasyQ switch to the PC's USB input, then ran an HDMI cable from the EasyQ switch's output to my display. Once everything was wired up, I connected to the JetKVM UI, but no matter what keyboard combination I tried, I couldn't switch between machines using hotkeys. It turns out that the third-party USB cable I used wasn't playing nice with the EasyQ switch and the JetKVM. While mine should have worked, I'm just chalking it up as weirdness. Huge thanks to Will for the PR and jumping in Discord to help me out. Now I can connect up to 4 machines to a single JetKVM and switch between them with a single keyboard command. Seeing this work on such a tiny device was pretty incredible. It instantly made the JetKVM 4 times more valuable when paired with the EasyQ switch, though that switch costs money too. Next, I wanted to set up something that I've done in the past with other IP KVMs, and that's local control. Now, by that, I mean being able to connect a keyboard, mouse, and monitor directly to the device, using it like a traditional KVM while still maintaining remote access like an IP KVM. Since the JetKVM only has one HDMI input, I needed a workaround. I had an EasyQ HDMI splitter, so I decided to give that a shot. I connected all of the HDMI cables to the splitter, with one output going to the JetKVM and the other one going to the monitor, and then I connected a PC. Once everything was plugged in, I confirmed that I could see the PC's display both through the JetKVM UI and on the local monitor. So far, so good. But when I connected the USB-C hub with a keyboard and mouse to the JetKVM, neither input device worked. As a final test, I decided to combine the HDMI splitter with the EasyQ KVM switch. Once everything was connected, I was able to control the PC locally from my workbench while still seeing it in the JetKVM UI. Almost perfect, except for one issue. The keyboard worked fine both locally and remotely, but the mouse went all crazy in the JetKVM UI, which made it totally unusable. This seems like a software issue, so I'll probably log a bug and report it, and hopefully we'll get a fix. Other than the mouse issue, this setup works really well. And on top of that, I tested connecting a USB hub to the EasyQ switch, and that worked too. I was even able to boot from a Ventoy USB drive. Now, that means I can install and configure any operating system on any of the 4 connected devices without needing to swap cables or mess with external boot media. For a $70 switch, this adds a ton of value to the JetKVM setup if you decide to pick up the additional EasyCoo hardware. So does the JetKVM deliver on all of its promises? For the most part, yes. They've shipped a great little piece of hardware. It gives you remote access to your machine from a web browser and offers an option to connect to the cloud to bypass firewalls. That is, of course, if you want to do that. You can use it 100% locally without any cloud dependencies. And most of the software is already open source, though we're still waiting on the JetKVM Linux OS to be released. Hopefully that happens soon. That said, I've already proved that self-hosting the cloud components is possible, and I'll be diving deeper into that on my second channel. For now, these JetKVMs are staying in my rack, and I'm excited to see how well they hold up over time. I plan to keep contributing code to the project as I can, and overall, I have to say that this device is a pretty easy recommendation for me. If you have any questions or comments about the JetKVM, let me know in the comments below. I'm Tim. Thanks for watching.